So I used to be an opera singer. I lived away from Gibraltar for about 12 years in total. I sang in fully staged operatic productions, concerts, recitals in different parts of the world. But then we decided we wanted to move back to Gibraltar and raise our family here. I became a professional accountant. I did my ACCA exams in a very short space of time, sitting 3 exams at a time. And in the meantime, there was always swimming. So as a boy and teenager, I was very competitive in the pool. And then when I came back to Gibraltar, I joined the Bluefin Open Water Swimming Club and found my love for open water swimming. So in 2015, I decided I wanted to test myself as an open water swimmer. I did a couple of round the rocks. Having done well in those, I decided I wanted to swim the Strait of Gibraltar the following year. After that, I put my name down for the English Channel. And in preparation for the English Channel, I swam a double round the rock, which is from Western Beach to Eastern Beach, and then back again to Western Beach. A distance of 23 kilometers and a swim that hadn't been done before. Now, when I prepare for one of these big swims, what I try to acquire is resilience. I put myself in difficult situations on a regular basis. I expose myself to harsh conditions regularly so that when these present themselves in the big swims, I am well prepared. Now, what I learned from swimming the English Channel was the importance of leaning on your support team. You lean on your support team so that you can focus fully on what you're there to do. Now, my support team is usually my wife, my parents, other family members and friends. So what they need to do is know exactly when I need to stop, what I need to feed and drink, how those drinks are prepared, the temperature of those drinks, so that I can think solely on swimming. Now, the pilot of the vessel is also a very important part of the support team. They dictate the course of the swim, taking into account the swimmer's speed, the currents, and the tide on that particular day. Because the aim is to arrive at your destination in the shortest amount of time possible, so that you spend the least amount of time in that cold water, which is the real challenge. Now, all of this is made possible by adopting good time management. So I like to think of how quickly do I move from being at work, working, to being in a training session, or being with my family, spending quality time. How quickly do I transition from one state to another without losing any time in between? As an example of time management and how I put it into practice, when I did my ACCA exams, I used to go into the office at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and on a Saturday and study for 4 hours solid. As a result, I was then able to enjoy quality time with my family in the afternoon and evening. And I was effective in my studies because I had set aside that fully concentrated, fully focused period of study. And I had done it at work, in the office, rather than at home. So in 2017, I swam a double Strait of Gibraltar. This was the toughest swim that I've ever done in terms of physical energy requirements. So when I arrived in Morocco, the pilots of the vessel said, "Look, it's complicated. We left an hour late due to fog. You've encountered strong currents against you. And as a result, we've arrived here very late in the day. So when you swim back up to Spain, you're going to find that the conditions become very rough and the current is going to be much stronger than expected, pulling you into the Mediterranean. So you're likely not going to hit land." And then in addition, he said, "If you quit now, we'll charge you for a single straight. But if you carry on swimming, we're going to have to charge you for a double, even if you're unsuccessful." So there I am, floating in Morocco, trying to make a decision. Should I carry on swimming, or should I call it a day? And at that point in time, my dad asked the pilot of the vessel, is there any chance whatsoever that he could make it? And the pilot of the vessel said, there is a very slight, remote possibility that he could make it. And that was enough for me. I started swimming again. Because I had already been there for the single straight, and I was more afraid of never having the opportunity to attempt a double straight again than I was of failing the swim on that attempt. So indeed, it got very rough on the way up, and it was a very, very tough swim. But I was rewarded with a successful swim in the end. So when do you think I feel the most joy? During a training session, or when I complete one of these big swims? By a show of hands, when do I feel the most joy? During a training session? Or when I complete one of these big swims? Okay, so it was a trick question. So when I complete one of these big swims, what I feel is pride and satisfaction. But I am genuinely concerned about my health. I want to get on that vessel as quickly as possible, wrap up, have something warm to drink. Because you never know how your body is going to react after you've been swimming for 9 or 10 hours and you stop. Whereas, on the other hand, when I'm training, with every single stroke that I swim, I feel like I'm getting closer to achieving my ultimate objective. With every single training session, I feel like my body is growing in the right direction. And by having those targets and those objectives, my life is more meaningful. And all of this combined adds to my overall level of happiness and joy. So what I learned from the world of opera was discipline, amongst many other things. So as an opera singer, you have to take care of your voice, eat the right food, sleep enough. You have to learn and perform the music accurately and strictly according to the composer's wishes. Not in the least because you have a conductor and an orchestra trying to accompany you. So I've been able to put into practice a lot of what I learned in terms of discipline from the world of opera in everything else that I've done subsequently. So also in 2017, I traveled to the States and I swam the Catalina Channel. The Catalina Channel is roughly the size of the English Channel, so between 34, 36 kilometers. The only difference with this swim is that it was a night swim. And the reason you swim it at night is because during the day, the wind picks up, it becomes very rough and unswimmable. So there I am, pitch black. I couldn't see the lights of Los Angeles, which was so far away that I couldn't see them. And I start swimming into the night when the body's asking for bedtime. There was a massive swell for the first 4 hours, making me very seasick. I swam into seaweed, planks of wood, plastic, got stung by jellyfish, got nibbled at my feet by some unknown sea creatures, swam into a swarm of pyrosome jelly-like tubes that glowed in the night. I didn't know what they were at the time. So I was genuinely very, very scared for the first few hours of this swim. And the reason I believe I was able to continue swimming and complete the swim was because I was able to fully focus on my swimming, fully focus on what I was there to do. I was able to shut out the noise and ignore the distractions. So I was focusing on my swimming technique, adapting that technique to the changing conditions, and monitoring my energy levels, so the things within my control. And I think it's a useful skill to have. For example, at work, if you have a project to hand in by a certain deadline, the ability to be able to focus fully on that and ignore the distractions and shut out the noise makes you much more effective. So last year, summer 2018, I swam 46 kilometers around the island of Manhattan. This is also a very tough swim because the final 2 or 3 hours of the swim, you're swimming down the Hudson, and you've got this swell coming in from the Atlantic Ocean head on. Now, when swims get tough, what comes to mind is a famous saying by Captain Matthew Webb, the first person to cross the English Channel. And he said, "Nothing great is easy. Nothing great is easy." And once you say that to yourself often enough, you start to realize that in order to achieve these challenges, you're going to have to suffer. And once you accept that you're going to have to suffer, then you're prepared to put in the work. So all of these swims that I've done have been equally tough in different ways. There's always unforeseeable circumstances, difficulties which arise. So it's useful not to have the delusion that these swims are going to be easy. And then the swims meet your expectations, and you're better prepared for them as a result. Nothing great is easy. But it's not all about pain. So in the beginning, when you start training, after you've taken a break, those training sessions are very hard. Your body's not used to that intensity. But the more you train, you pick up, you grow exponentially, and you're able to pile on the intensity, the duration of the swims, the distances, with minimal extra effort. You grow exponentially, you gain momentum, break the inertia. But it's the same with your mind. So the more new things you learn, the easier it is to learn new things. You step outside of the box, you move from your comfort zone, and the more often you do that, the easier it becomes to absorb new information and to grow as a professional, as an individual. Now, the open water swimming community is very sharing of skills and knowledge, experiences, the risks associated with these swims. So you write to someone on the other side of the world, and they'll reply as soon as they can, giving you all the information that they're able to. And I think it's an admirable culture to follow in everything that we do. Everyone benefits from it. So for example, at work, if you teach someone to do part of your job, you're able to focus on something that needs to get done, something that you're good at, or able to grow in a different area and become more valuable as a professional, again, as an individual, more valuable to your organization, for example. For me, I've been very fortunate to always have a support team there. I've been fortunate to have colleagues that have shared their experiences and their knowledge with me, and as a result of that, I've been able to achieve all these things. Thank you.